We wants it. We needs it. They stole it from us. Sneaky little hobbitses, wicked, tricksy, false. No, not master. Yes, precious, false. They will cheat you, hurt you, lie. Master's my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. I'm not listening. You're a liar and a thief. No, murderer. Go away. Go away. I hate you. I hate you. Where would you be without me? Gollum! Gollum! I saved us. It was me. We survived because of me. Not anymore. What did you say? Master looks after us now. We don't need you. What? Leave now and never come back. No. Leave now and never come back. Leave now and never come back. We told him to go away, and he's gone, precious, he's gone.
A couple things I noticed that could have potentially affected a few things, and but for the most part, it was really close, and it's not going to be exactly the same, and the things that they did change, some of it was cool. A lot of it were like the visual side of stuff that we get to see on there, and the added dramatics just for the effect of making it a little more exciting. There's nothing wrong with that. I really did enjoy it as a film. Now, if you're gonna ask me where I would rank it in like a scale of 1 to 10, man, it's a tough one, because there's not enough that happens in this first part of the Two Towers to where it's one of my most exciting ones, right? It just kind of sets stuff up.
Right.
So I would probably give the film an 8.1 out of 10 for this. 8.0, 8.1 out of 10, just simply because they did a good job of making it interesting in a non-interesting span of time. So that's the kind of compliment I can give it. And there are periods of time in the book that we mentioned that are unexciting, right? So it's going to happen, obviously if you're following close along to the novel, as you should be as a director, just making little nuance changes here and there. There are also going to be times that are uneventful there in the film. So yeah, it was cool though. There did a lot of things that are very, very similar, like you had mentioned when Éomer gets off his horse and tells Gimli if his head stuck up a little bit off the ground, he'd take it off, and then Gimli and Legolas defends Gimli and puts the arrow in his face and said, "You will die before your sword fell." That was almost spot on, word for word, in the book. And then when they took, like I said, they took the weapons there in Edoras. That's when Gandalf decides he's gonna, you wouldn't part an old man from his walking stick, would you? And there's some things that the dialogue is almost word for word. Some of the things that they're saying, so they did a good job. They did a good job overall. And they said there's only 2 to 3 changes that they made that I'm not happy with, just because of the potential problem it could cause. But it's not something so blatant where it's not even like the same film or same movie as the book, right? That's the same. That's the issue I had with the other things that we've covered, is that, man, I can't even know how you could call that film the title of the book that it's supposed to represent, because it's not even the same. Yeah, it's amazing how certain things, you take your time and do things well, how better of a product comes out. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. 8.1 or 8.0, 8.1 out of 10 is where I'd kind of put part 1 of the Two Towers in between. And yeah, kind of give me your thoughts and give me your ranking.
So I'll give it an 8.5. I thought it was, just like you were saying, it's hard to really get a lot of action out of this first part, because there's not really a big, you had that battle with the orcs and the riders, but that's really all you had, and it was kind of from a distance. You couldn't see much, so damn dark. It was the long night on screen. But but no, from honestly and I know I've said this before, and keep in mind I can't relate to what a director goes through, because I imagine it is a very difficult task, taking books and putting them into a script, because there's a lot of material. However, I told you, an interview I watched before we even, started on this big arc, just because we like to do our research beforehand. Peter Jackson, the cast was talking about, like, when they filmed this in New Zealand, he was always handing them a copy of the book just to look through and, like, read and kind of get an idea of the character feel and the events that happen there. And I don't know, and I hate to keep harping on other franchises and stuff, and I don't know about, like, if how much the directors read the book in Harry Potter, but, like, Harry Potter, like, they missed so many things. It was changing a plot point, and that's where I think, like, you really step over the line at that point, and this doesn't do that. Even adding little things, like, even the Gollum thing was very, like, interesting, even though technically it could change this little character persona a little bit. It wasn't to the point of it was changing an entire plot that was going on here. And I like the way they were able to piece it together by jumping from perspectives. Because imagine if you're watching that on film, the way this was written out. You get, like, to the second half and you're like, I forgot these characters were even here. Especially imagine watching it a year later. Like, imagine, like, where were these people the whole time? And from an audience perspective, like, especially if you're not reading a book, you got to be reminded of that, and you want to know, like, what they're going through at the same time. So I thought it was a very interesting take. And I like the little ads they did here and there. Like, I like the little orc thing, like how they stepped on the orc, because it was so boring. That damn chapter was so boring. I told you that's the one chapter, I think, out of almost any series we've covered on the show that I read that I was just dozing off. I had to read standing up. It's like, how many times is Brie Glad gonna hand him some mead? Let's go, man. Let's pick it up. But so I think overall, as a film perspective, in taking the major plot points of the book, I know some things were a little bit different than Wormtongue and his personality and things there, but overall, the consensus of what you're trying to do is still there and getting it done the correct way. So give it a 8.5, man, for the film.